Hello, welcome to the Agile Mixers podcast, all new and returning listeners. Thank you very much for joining us today. We have a very special episode today. We're going to have some really special people in the room today. So we have with us today myself, your ever excited host, Tammy. We're going to have with us our returning guest, Sam, the professional Scrum trainer, and the new guest, Souleymane, also a professional Scrum trainer. We're going to look at a very interesting topic. So there's something that we've observed in the on LinkedIn and the online space, the conversation around the Scrum Master being an accountability and not a role, and the implications of that being, well, do you need a Scrum Master anymore? Maybe we can even sprinkle some of these accountabilities that the Scrum Master is meant to hold in different people, so to speak. So is the Scrum Master needed? If it's an accountability and not a role? So we're going to discuss that today. So join us. And like I always tell you, grab your pen, grab your drink, grab your paper, get ready to learn something. So we're going to answer this question. If the Scrum Master is an accountability and not a role, do we need one? We're going to look at, okay, if that is a wrong statement, or if what's the intent of the statement? What are we talking about? Is it accountability? Is it a role? How do you make it work? How do we correct it? How do you make it better? If you are stuck and you're trying to answer this question, or you even want to understand what it means that you have an accountability, not a role, stay tuned to the Agile Masters podcast for more. And then stay also with us as we talk with myself, Sam, and Souleymane. So get ready, stay tuned. It is the Agile Masters podcast with Tammy. So get ready and let's get on this topic right now. Okay, so welcome on to the Agile Masters podcast with Tammy. And on this episode, we have two interesting people along with us. We have Souleymane, he's a professional Scrum trainer at Scrum.org, and we have Sam. Sam also is a professional Scrum trainer at Scrum.org. And if you remember, Sam, we had an episode where Sam talked about debunking the myth of functional teams and all that, which if you haven't listened to, listen to that podcast episode. So let me start with Souleymane. Souleymane, thank you for joining us on the podcast today. Can you introduce yourself to our listeners and our viewers?
Yes, thank you, Temi. Thank you, Sam. Thank you for having me. So my name is Souleymane. So I'm a Scrum.org trainer. Actually, I am delivering trainings and consulting services as well to companies, little in Europe, and mainly in Africa as well. This because I'm based in North Africa, in Morocco. And yeah, very happy to be there. And let's get started.
Thank you very much. And Sam, introduce yourself again.
Well, thank you for having me again, Temi. And Souleymane, good to catch up with you again. So I am also a professional Scrum trainer with Scrum.org, under the umbrella of Value Hut, and I'm interested in helping organizations improve their ability to deliver valuable products and services to their customers, even in a complex market like this.
Okay, thank you very much. So we've come together to actually tackle a very interesting topic, or a group of topics. So I'll just throw, what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw the powder keg into this. So first question, I've observed something online in the conversations on LinkedIn with different people. And there's a sentiment that is, I won't say it's building, but it's kind of like there. So it's around this statement or topic that the Scrum Master is not a job title, but an accountability. Now, we know that the greatest Scrum Guide ties into this ideology, but people are not taking to indicate that the Scrum Master role doesn't need to be there anymore. That once these things go on in a Scrum team, that's perfectly fine. Can you chime into that? Because I know there's an intent, that the practicality. I don't know, Souleymane, what thoughts do you have regarding that kind of statement?
Okay. I was about to say Sam go first, but now that you gave it to me, I will jump on it directly. No, it's okay. It's okay. So, saying that the Scrum Master is not a job title from the get-go, it's an accountability. I'm totally in line with this. Meaning, the Scrum Guide, what they describe here is we need to have some accountabilities people will need to fulfill so that product development will go well. Within that team in those kind of situation, meaning in a complex environment. So we need to have those accountabilities, and that's why I like, by the way, the Scrum framework, because This is something that is applicable to different contexts. And we are talking about complexity. You can't have something that is a solution for every situation. So having a kind of framework that is adaptable to different contexts is something that is very powerful. And some organization, they can't afford paying or funding a job title, a job position for each of these three roles to begin working with Scrum. No, for instance, a startup who has only 2 people, they can apply Scrum. You can apply Scrum by having someone who is, for instance, playing product owner role and Scrum Master role. I personally was in a situation in which I was playing the same. It was difficult, but it was successful because it was the beginning. So I am totally in line with this. But when they are saying that it's an accountability, it means that, you know, people needs to have different, meaning someone needs to do the coaching part. That's what I understood from your question. Someone needs to do the facilitation part. Someone needs to do another thing part. That's what you shared, actually.
That's what some of the comments are saying, that you can sprinkle the accountabilities on different people.
Yep, but I don't think that those are actually accountabilities, because if you divide it like that, those are skills. Those are skills, and you don't have someone who is having the accountability of, you know, to upholding that framework, to ensuring that the framework or agility or efficiency is being well, you know, driven, or is being well applied by the people in that
by the team.
Yeah, so if you sprinkle it, okay, you will have still the skills, but no one is accountable of that. So if we are lacking of efficiency, if we are lacking of agility, or if something is hindering our empiricism to navigate the complexity, no one is accountable for that. You know, that's what I think about it.
That's really powerful. That's really okay. I have some thoughts that you just drummed up. If I let me write them down before I forget them.
All right.
But thank you for that. But yeah, so Sam, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
All right, I'm going to answer that question, but I want to kind of piggyback on what Souleymane just mentioned there, which is no one, if agility was lacking, there is no one to focus on it or pick up on it. Actually, I think the entire team should pick up on it. But that takes some time to get there.
Exactly.
Yeah. My very early experience of working on Scrum teams or Agile teams, we didn't actually have a Scrum Master. Everybody was very clued on what it means to be Agile. So no one is pulling everybody to say it's time for our daily Scrum. Everybody just got up. You know, no one is. Yeah, I mean, if in those days, to be honest with you, everybody was pretty good on agility, very clued on, very senior. A lot of the known names in the Agile space. If you were the first to get into an event, a Scrum event, you're probably going to be the one to run the event. Everybody was trained up that way, and that took time. Okay? So back to accountability and not a job role. As Souleymane said, I agree. In fact, I've always wondered, why was that change made? This is my own interpretation of it. I'm going to presume that in some organizations where there was no one with the job title of a Scrum Master or a product owner, it would have said in the past, you cannot adopt the Scrum framework. Because there is no role of a Scrum Master. And I believe, as part of inspecting and adapting the Scrum framework, that was softened to accountability. And I think it's actually a very powerful change, in my opinion. I've worked in organizations where we had agility leads, delivery leads that were the Scrum Master for the team based on the Scrum framework. Okay, so I agree with that change, that it makes sense and it opens up that accountability to anybody on the team. However, experience has shown that should be a full-time job. You can tack it on to other things like a developer, a dev lead, but it should be a full-time job that someone should do and help the team be effective. In fact, I always say this to people. I have never actually had a Scrum Master title in my entire career. What's happened is, people know that Sam understands Scrum. It's pretty good. And they find a title to bring me in. In fact, there was a company that I wouldn't mention. In that company, the word agile, coach, scrum was banned. You will not get an approval. So they brought me in as a cloud engineer. My title in the HR thing was a cloud engineer, but I was actually brought in as a scrum master. And the
Oh,
fact
wow.
that you have to have a job title to deliver that accountability is what the Scrum framework tried to fix.
Yes. Yes.
I hope that provides some context. That's my own understanding of it.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you for that. You know, there's something you hammered on, which I've been trying to say to people, which is the statement has an intent, but like Souleymane rightly said, there's a context that people need to understand. I think Sam hammered on it, which is Sam was saying you can be there, but it takes a while to get there. Someone has to coach the team. I know the funny thing that Scrum Masters, I think 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, used to make a particular statement, which is you're trying to get yourself to the point where you're redundant. And that statement is tying onto that, which is you train the team, you coach the team. Because when you look at it, the Scrum guy talks about the Scrum Master being accountable for these three: coach the product owner, coach the team, coach the organization. Now, if that accountability is spread across, sprinkled on people, so to speak, who is going to do it? If it belongs to, okay, I'll tell you this story. When I was in university, my boarding school in Nigeria, there was a time where it was a very warm year. So my friends in the room decided, okay, let's put money together and buy a ceiling fan, right? And then one person asked, so when we are going, who takes it home?
Fair question.
And his question was, if it belongs to everybody, it belongs to no one. And you know how those things go. If it belongs to everyone, no one's going to do it well, because no one's going to be held accountable for it being done right.
Yeah.
And that was when I saw those statements online, that was my counter argument, which is, I get what you are trying to say, but understand the intent of the guide. Like Souleymane and Sam rightly said, and I'm saying this to our listeners clearly, what the intent of the guide was, like Souleymane said, and like Sam also said, if you're an organization where it is not possible to have that role separated from everything that's going on, you can have one person perform the accountabilities, but it has to be given to somebody to do. Because if it's talking about being effective, someone has to be in charge of that. You can't say, oh, handle facilitation anyhow. No, what about if it's done wrong? Someone has to be able to say, this is the right way to do it. And that's even why the Scrum Guide doesn't say the Scrum Master has to be at every single daily Scrum. But someone has to provide the backdrop to say, this is how a proper daily Scrum is meant to be done. And then you can expect and adapt as you progress. But someone has to be singularly focused on the team's effectiveness within Scrum. You understand? So what we're saying to our listeners is that the idea, understand the intent and understand the journey towards it. If you understand team development and people development, you understand Shuhari, that statement is a restatement. There's a context around it. Is the I mean, when you look at it, sorry, I'm going on a rant here, but because when I heard, I thought about that. You look at a team that is struggling to do story points or not doing story points, a team that's struggling to slice their stories appropriately, a team that is struggling to deliver every sprint, a team that has no view of their value. Is that the team you would say don't need a Scrum Master? You get, because that team is immature. You need somebody to actually take them through the process. Eventually, the need for the Scrum Master will start to reduce, but then you realize there's the team, there's the product owner, there's the organization. So the job extends. Really, it extends beyond just the team.
Can I jump in there a little bit, Tim?
Yes.
And as you were speaking, this came to me, right? Which is, oftentimes people would question the value of a role, of a practice, if that practice doesn't seem to be useful.
True.
Right? I believe that the COVID year, a lot of people came into this job as a Scrum Master, attending a 2 days class, and saying I'm a Scrum Master. In the UK in particular, we had organizations that I know one organization, I think they brought in just shy of 300 coaches. Another organization I know about, just shy of 200 coaches, Scrum Master coaches. If you ask ourselves, with those organizations that brought in a lot of people in, did they get the value for the money invested? I would say no. And I think this is where people start to question the value of a Scrum Master. And then to make matters worse, we all know this, people are now doing 2 jobs, 3 jobs. Why? Because these people saw the job of a Scrum Master as, I spend 3 hours a week facilitating event, and that's it. So I think the market has contributed to this mess.
Yes.
So if you are bringing in Scrum Masters into an organization and they are not delivering value apparently, then you might as well do without them. I think it's fair to balance that out.
Yeah.
Interesting
point.
Can I add something to this? In fact, what Sam is asking is the reason why I started the Agile Matrix podcast, because I realized that there are 2 ends of the equation. There is, what does the industry or what do the companies expect, or what do they know to expect, and what does the Scrum Master going in know to do? Because like Sam rightly said, if the Scrum Master thinks all I'm meant to do is run events or run, as they put it, ceremonies, and the organization thinks that's all, the idea of coaching the organization, the Scrum Master is barred from that door. The idea of coaching the product owner, he sees the product owner only doing the events. So both of them kind of and like Sam rightly said, it's a chicken and egg theme, kind of. One gave birth to the other, and one has maintained the other. So not to put Souleymane in the hot seat, but the question now is, how did we get here? Oh, you have something to say. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I can try to answer to that question at the same time, but I do have a couple of, meaning my 2 cents on this point. Actually, I am totally in line with what Sam was explaining, meaning this accountability has been very badly understood, meaning since it has been introduced in the market. And we can see that people sometimes were still even struggling to put content on it. What I mean by that is that in the Scrum Guide, it's meaning very well stated, it's well understood, and there are a couple of people who know it well and are applying it well, and they are getting value from it. But it's very spread widely, meaning on the globe, that people don't know what is the content of Scrum Master. I remember I worked in a retail company in which the Scrum Masters were considered exactly as you were describing it. Secretaries, sending invites, facilitating meetings, events, if we can call it like that, only that. And even I remember when I joined there, I was doing kind of interviews to know what is the current state of the situation. They were saying the same feeling, meaning we are there just for secretary stuff, only for that. So they were struggling to put content on it, and that led us, I think, to a very big mess in the industry generally, and people didn't know how this guy can bring value to us. And if actually a Scrum Master don't bring value to an organization, there is no point of having one in an organization. As a manager, I would have the same thinking. I will fire them, because I don't want secretaries only. Right.
Yeah.
So the other thing is that is a bit related to that is some people are asking the question, if a Scrum, because you mentioned something like the shuhari path, right? Meaning it's a process, it's a journey. But what could we have if a team is mature enough, meaning a team is mature enough until they want to get rid of the Scrum Master. Probably this is one thinking that led to the first question you asked, meaning sprinkling the accountabilities. They can think that from one time we are mature enough, we know how to do velocities or story points. I'm just throwing things like that. We know how to facilitate because before they think that I am I'm enforcing those practices. we know how to facilitate our events. We know how to apply Scrum, so we don't need a Scrum Master anymore. Probably that's how they are thinking. But it's a shuhari path, as you explained. It's a whole process, meaning the Scrum Master's focus is not only on the team level. Probably the team now is capable of doing some things that are agile related that can help them bring value. Okay, but there is a whole ecosystem around. There are management and leadership around. There is an environment around. There are processes around, delivery extra. So the Scrum Master can have his focus, changing from one, part
one
of the
area,
organization,
yeah.
one area to another, based on how major or how we are in our agile adoption. So probably this is one thing that led to that misunderstanding as well.
Yeah,
I don't know
great
if
stuff,
it makes
Suleiman.
sense.
I was going to actually say this as well, but I don't want to get into the what can we do about it. But I will mention this, right? So as a principle, I actively discourage people without experience of working on teams to go in as a Scrum Master. Because I think sometimes organizations set up people for failure as well.
True.
The Scrum Master is meant to support the product owner, the Scrum team, the developers, and then the organization. There is no way someone without much experience working in management can help the organization, to be fair.
True. I get it's problematic.
It is very hard. And to be honest, for most organizations, there's a lot of work to be done at the team level, to be honest.
Yeah,
there's a lot of work to be done. Getting a team to a point where they are able to deliver value internally is a lot of work. That's not even easy. It's a senior role within a team.
True.
Right? The Scrum Master role. So when you ask people that are just gone on a 2-day course, come and coach the organization, where are they going to start from?
True.
That's a total different ball game. And I think sometimes as well, we've got to be patient with people that are coming along. If anyone was to ask me for advice today, go work on a team, go be a developer, go be a tester, go be a BA, and try to volunteer your time to support experienced coaches, experienced Scrum Masters to really understand how they are navigating all that. It's complex, guys. It's complex.
Yeah.
Right? So I think, again, it's set up. And I can go on, but I don't want us to focus on the setup, right? The setup.
Yeah.
Also, we see rates dropping massively in the market, whereby the experienced guys are staying away from it. So who gets in? The ones with the 2 years experience, the one with the 6-month experience, and then it's like an ecosystem. It goes back to say Scrum Masters are not effective.
Yeah.
But are you bringing in the right people? Let's go back to job descriptions where you're being tasked to increase velocity. That is failure from day one.
Yeah.
But I think, when we get into what can we do about it, we'll talk about it a bit more. But that's what I think.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Sam. So let me go back to Souleymane and ask the question. I know we've actually sprinkled it a bit, but maybe in a more concise way. How did we get here as an industry? Because when I started as a Scrum Master, when you start your role, you would sit down with the director or the delivery lead or something to say, we need your help to help us be better. It will come to you it wasn't local optimization that they're concerned about. It was at the start, when I started, it was a thing of, what are we doing wrong? How can we take this to the next level? But over the years, it's gone to the point where it's now local optimized. So, okay, I've started to answer the question, but in your experience, so to speak, in your experience and in your training class and all that, what do you think led us here?
That's a very good question, actually. To be honest, what I think that led us here, it's mainly meaning people are. I don't want to make the focus on Scrum because it's just a way to help us, deliver value. But people did actually understood this framework meaning wrongly. Even me, I can relate to that because I have been in this situation, meaning I have been in a company in which my focus was not about value, was not about the product, was not about the client, was not about how we can continuously deliver something that is, impactful and valuable to our customers and our stakeholders. That was not my focus. When I started my journey with Scrum, I was mainly focused on let's guys start doing our dailies. Okay, during our dailies, we will try to, tackle the improvements. We will tackle, the impediments. We will try to do retrospective to have improvements. But my main focus as a Scrum Master, it was on that level. I was thinking even that a Scrum team that is major is a Scrum team that is applying everything and ticking all the box of the Scrum guide, meaning I'm doing my retrospective, my review, extra. We good. That's how people were thinking it, and I do think that even now people are thinking it like this. And at the meaning experimenting that accountability for now 20 years, 30 years, people now start seeing that this is not that brings value to the companies. So probably we did misunderstood it from the get-go. I do think that it's one of the main, I don't want to say root cause, but it's one of the main causes. And something else is that everyone is talking about the framework at the same time. Meaning, we are in this. I even saw a couple of people, I don't want to mention name or even, it's not to take it back. Probably he's doing well, but I saw people that only took 2-day classes, mentioned about that they are becoming now agile coaches and building courses and teaching other people back. They have never experienced Scrum. And I know many people who are doing that, to be honest. Meaning they are now agile coaching, teaching back to people. They have never experienced the framework on the ground. So what would be the result of that? We all know. We all know.
That is one of Sam's pet peeves. Sam now, just make it clear to you guys listen to the podcast. Sam is not saying the 2-day course is not valuable. No.
Yep.
What Sam is saying is that it's a part of the process of being a Scrum Master. It's not a singular gateway. You've learned it, you've gone for a course, you've gotten certified, which is fine. You've interfaced with other people in the class, but it's part of your journey. And go ahead.
Your learning starts.
Yeah.
This is why people that come to our classes, I would always advise and encourage people to go to a 2-day class. Passing the assessment, paying $200 or whatever you pay, is nowhere compared to spending 2 days with a professional Scrum trainer from Scrum.org.
Yes, and we have two here.
Okay?
Yes, the best part, right?
Wait, just hold on, listeners. Their links to their class schedule will be in the show notes. So just look in there, you will find their links there. Yeah, they are really good trainers.
So you know what I tell you that the assessment is probably 10% of what we go through in class. So in those classes, yes, maybe it's a problem. We cover quite a lot.
Yes.
But we only introduce you to these concepts. What people then need to do, this is why I tell everyone to come to my class. You've got 3 to 6 months of work to really sit down and understand all these practices. So for instance, we talk about, let's say, story mapping as a technique for a product owner, right? There is a whole book on that. Maybe about 300 pages, but we spend 30 minutes. And then what do people do? They go change their CV, proficient, expert level at story mapping. No. And we should see. I've known about impact mapping for a long time. And I've been thinking about goals last few weeks. So I am spending some stupid amount of time just really understanding impact mapping and using it in my work. Give me a year from now, books, blogs, conference talks, and podcasts, and then start using that with my client. That is the journey we've got to go through as Scrum Masters. So people have got to pick up, improving, studying, blogging as a daily habit. Yeah, that's the only way I believe that class would really deliver the value. And then connect back with your trainer. That's the journey people should follow. So yes, please go to the classes, but your learning doesn't stop there. Most of the trainers will speak to you even after the class. All right.
Souleymane.
Yeah, just 2 sentences there. I can relate with what Sam was saying because I just explained the meaning, my first experience with Scrum, how badly I understood it.
Yeah.
I was doing a couple of months ago an interview with one of our fellow professional Scrum trainers that I was sharing him the same story. I was saying to him that I would love to have attended a official class before I started my career. Because I knew after 4 or 5 years of experiencing it, I knew that if I had this class before, I would be very more effective than how I was currently. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I can absolutely confirm this.
Interestingly, just to add to your points, I actually there's a podcast that I did that I compared the Scrum Master to Batman. And I said, Batman, Batman has his tool belts. So he's over the years built proficiency in different tools. So when he gets to a particular place, he knows what to do. And what I'm trying to encourage people as a Scrum Master in that podcast was, you can't just say, oh, I'm a Scrum Master. You have to, like Sam said, you have to be voracious for knowledge, for information, to get better. You need to improve. So like Sam said, the professional Scrum training course is the start of your journey. It's kind of like your eyes are now open to look at the world in a different way. Now you have to learn. There's facilitation, there's backlog management, there's stakeholder management, there are all these things, impact mapping, coaching. There's so much that comes into the role. So what are we saying in this statement? What myself and these two awesome professional Scrum trainers are saying, which is the role is massive. The accountability is massive. And that's why it's usually better handled by a person, because there's a lot inside this, at least at the start of a team. There's so much. So my question now is, how do we solve this conundrum? How do we correct it?
At this time, I will let the floor to my fellow guy.
I like that. It doesn't segue, Sam. It's on to you.
The hot potato directly to you.
All right. So I think it's to fix this problem. I really think it's going to involve the whole community.
Yeah.
Ecosystem. Right? On behalf of, I think for me, for organizations. So I'm going to spend a bit more. Let me talk about this, right? Okay. So some people have said, the delivery manager, the delivery lead should be the Scrum Master. In some way, I agree. Right? So imagine you've got a Scrum team. And I've seen it before, real life.
Yeah.
You've got a delivery manager. They've got a Scrum Master. They've got a tech lead. A team of 10 people. You don't need a delivery manager, a delivery lead, and a Scrum Master in the same team. Yeah, you don't. Yeah. What we need to do, however, it makes sense for the delivery manager, anyone with a managerial capability, to take on the Scrum Master role. The challenge is this. Most managers are used to the predictive way of managing.
Yeah.
Headcounts, capacity, somewhat
top-down heavy.
Top-down way of managing work. And to succeed as a Scrum Master, you need to adopt empirical means of management. So, if you're going to bring in a Scrum Master in such a setup, it could be for a short period where they can pair with that delivery manager, almost act as a blind spot, a mirror.
Okay.
What can they do to improve their skills? How can they better support their organization? And then over time, withdraw. And that's the real intent of Scrum Masters. You go into a space to improve, to coach, to mentor. And then you can withdraw and let the system run. But then you will be withdrawing knowing that you've got a manager that has been trained, supported to be the Scrum Master for the team.
Yeah.
Then the organization. Most times, so I used to be very tough on managers, but I have softened my stance on managers, because managers also have managers.
Yeah.
That are demanding for stuff to be done.
Yeah.
Right? The team tries to work using the Scrum framework, an empirical manner, and then we don't want to do man-days estimation, absolute estimation, but their own managers are asking them for how long will it take.
Yeah.
They want estimating man-days because their own managers, maybe the CTO now, need that to get budgets. So those are the pressure on the management that is actually coming down to the team whereby it is very difficult for a delivery manager to be a true Scrum Master because there are other demands outside of the Scrum team that is leading that behavior. So yes, the Scrum Master remains an accountability, but if we're going to push that accountability on delivery managers, on line managers, we must be able to coach those people to take on that accountability. It's not a stamp. You're not a Scrum Master. It doesn't work that way. In fact, training has taught me this. People that are new to Scrum are better Scrum Masters than established managers because of all the ingrained habits.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's for organization. I think for people like us that are more experienced, we need to talk a lot more about success stories. How Scrum has helped deliver value. How Scrum has helped improve share prices. How Scrum has helped organizations that were stuck for 18 months. They brought you on board, and within 3 months, they were able to get that product out. How Scrum has helped improve a declining consumer satisfaction. We need to speak more about that. Enough about arguing about practices. Okay?
Very true.
Scrum is a means to an end. And lastly, is for people that aspire to be Scrum Masters to love learning. Love learning. I like to brag on this. I've been reading a blog every day since 2007. It's like a meal for me. I read, study, practice every single day. That is very early in my career. It was something that was said to me that, you know what, a blog. I might not finish a book, but blogs, 30 minutes, get new ideas, and then bring that into your work environment, right? So I think I've managed to look at it from the angle of the organization, experienced coaches and Scrum Masters, and also people that are coming new into that field. Yes, love learning, find a mentor, and then I think eventually we can all work together to change the narrative. The Scrum Master remains an accountability. Souleymane.
Thank you for that, Sam. That's powerful.
Yes, I will build from where you just finished, meaning love learning. Just wanted to say that it is something that helped me a lot. Currently, I'm in UK, guys, with you, traveling. But wherever I'm traveling, I have 1 or 2 books with me. You can see this, because we always. This is from Daniel Vacanti, how to improve flow. This is product from product to project to product. Just exactly. Thank you. Just to say something like, meaning we need to improve ourselves, because the Scrum Master, as we said, it's an accountability that is huge. Meaning serving an organization, knowing that the organizations are settled on practices that has been last for centuries. We can't change it just by reading a book or doing a one class. Definitely. We need to learn, and to improve. So I really like that. Now, coming back to the question, how we can get rid of it, the Scrum Master remains an accountability, definitely. That accountability don't need to be spread or sprinkled into different other skills, and spread to the other team members. I don't think that it will be effective, because we don't have someone who is upholding it when it's falling down, right? And helping us to go to the shoe hurry, as you said, meaning progressing. But if I have advices to give, it would be one for the organizations. Meaning organizations, when they will hire Scrum Master, I would recommend them to be more cautious now, because they know that having certifications doesn't only mean that we master things. Hiring someone who is really experienced will help you get more value from this accountability than just hiring someone who has all the sets, right? This is something that would be helpful. Something that can be helpful as well, and even I can see a couple of fellow PSTs who are saying something like that, to give them power. I know that this could be a little,
Slippery slope.
controversial. We can have another debate or another podcast even on that. But I think that they need to have a little power, not probably a hierarchical power, but if they don't have that power to make change, it's difficult. This is what I have experienced in my in my career. I have seen Scrum Master who was very good and who were capable of making changes just by their influence. That's very good, but not everyone is as good at that.
Yeah.
So giving them that power or that room, even if it's a little room for change, it would be very good. So having Scrum Master like managers or Scrum Master who has that little power, I think it will be very helpful, to be honest. And the other advice, it would be to the community. So go get official classes, and you won't regret that, to be honest. Go get classes from professionals, from people like Sam, from people like me, from people like Temi. This is the advertising part. You won't regret it, because you will benefit from the experience. You will benefit from the knowledge, and you will benefit from all their readings, their experience, their mistakes, everything they have tried on the ground. And this is more valuable than just having my PSM1, my PSM2, something like that. And something that can be helpful, by the way, to the whole community and the organization. If you think that this accountability is still getting not that understood, let's just, guys, make it simple. Let's forget about all of this. Let's focus on the most important things: the product, the clients, how to make the companies better. Let's forget about the mechanics. Let's forget about the tools. Let's forget about the practices. These are just tools, guys, to help us. Let's focus on things that are more valuable, and probably we will get it back to its initial
Original
purpose,
state.
which is to bring value to the companies. These are my 2 cents, and I had time to reflect when Sam was answering.
Sam really hammered it on. No, but it's very true. So you see, my own addition to this, to the Scrum Master, see yourself as more than a team secretary. You have to see yourself as somebody that organization needs to take them to the next level. So even though you're working with the teams, you have to start looking beyond the team to the product owner, to the organization. What can I do in this location to improve things? Now, I am aware that some organizations may not understand your role well enough to allow you access. But you see, there are things you can do to bring access to that. In other words, like Sam and I discussed it before, if you don't have the managerial authority, can you win at something within the organization that can give you some exposure to then go, I need help with this, or we need to do this better? Because if not, you'll be stuck with what we call local optimization. You would improve the team. It doesn't necessarily mean that value is getting out quicker. It just means your team is running as fast as they can. But what about before the team? So think of it this way: your job really as like Souleymane rightly said, the product, the customer. What can we do to optimize the flow of value from ideation to the customer? So you look at it as a whole. So, dear Scrum Master, you are more powerful than a event secretary. You're not just there. I know a lot of the CVs, a lot of the JDs, job descriptions talk about we want someone to run the event. Or like Sam rightly said, we want someone to increase velocity by 20%. You are more than that. And it is your role, it is your job as a Scrum Master to prove that to your organization. You have to.
Can I add just one last, last passing out to this, right? Is just on what Temi was saying. Imagine a Scrum team where every single member of the Scrum team, including the Scrum Master, really cared about people that were going to use their products. Really cared about increasing the adoption of their products. See, I've seen it so many times. People are so detached, just like a job.
Yeah. The passion is
right?
out of it completely.
You are building an API for a bank, and you really think about, hold on a sec. How can I increase adoption? How can I increase the value that this product brings? Then maybe we would approach our jobs differently. Because the Scrum Master, every single day, that's your job. You're thinking, how can I help these lots, 10 people, to improve the value of this product? And when you have a product that's good value, higher value, you get more people using it. That's it.
Yeah.
It needs to solve a problem. I am tired of Scrum Masters that don't even understand why they are building a product. Real life story.
Yes.
They don't understand why. It's just a job. I'm there to anyway.
To run the ceremonies.
Yes, but that's
So thank you very much for that, Sam. Thank you, Souleymane.
Interesting.
I think we've put it down. So, dear listeners, you can hear from two awesome professional Scrum trainers. The Scrum Master role, it's an accountability, but understand what it means in the context, right?
Yes.
So, I don't know what. Does anybody have any last word to say? Any last phrase to say to the Scrum Masters listening? I usually say keep iterating, keep improving, whichever one. What do you have to say, Souleymane? Anything to?
I would say focus and value. By doing that, you will bring value to your companies.
Thank you very much. And from Sam?
nothing else to say. I go with Souleymane.
Yeah.
I like that. So thank you very much, Sam and Souleymane. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and
Thanks
your
to you,
ideas,
Tammy.
for answering these questions. And dear listeners, I hope you've heard it from them. I hope you've learned. We've shared a lot. So what am I saying to you? Like I said to you at the beginning, there's a lot we're going to discuss about this particular role and about these questions. So like I always say, keep learning, keep iterating. If you're not subscribed to the Agile Matrix podcast, subscribe right now. And then, like I said earlier, in the show notes, you will find Souleymane's links and Sam's links for their training courses as well. Like I said, these are awesome professional Scrum trainers. So thank you very much for joining this Agile Matrix podcast episode, and stay tuned for more. Have a nice day. Cheers, everyone. So there you have it. I did tell it was going to be interesting. So you see, we've discussed the Scrum Master role, whether it's an accountability role. We've looked at what caused this conundrum where the Scrum Master isn't where the role isn't well respected due to people not understanding much about it. So I hope you have learned something, right? This is the Agile Matrix podcast. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, the aim is to inform, to educate, let you understand the power of this role, right? So if you're ready to keep learning with us, stay tuned to Agile Matrix podcast. Subscribe to the podcast on your favorite application, whether it's YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you'd like to support us, our Patreon link is in the show notes. So you can click and support the show. So thank you very much for listening to the Agile Matrix podcast today. It's been a fantastic experience. I'm looking to actually doing this more with Sam and Souleymane, tackling these hard topics. So if you have any topics you have in mind for us to tackle, please send us a message in the podcast app you're using on YouTube. Let us know so we can tackle these hard topics together, so we can improve the profession and take us to the next level. So thank you very much for listening to Agile Matrix podcast today. I am 100% sure you learned something new today. So thank you very much. Stay tuned. Keep iterating. Keep delivering value and keep doing awesome stuff. Cheers, everyone.